The resumption of direct Russian flights to the Red Sea represent actually a big boost for the country's economy and the tourism industry. According to the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, the number of tourists coming to Egypt is expected to increase thanks to the preventative measures and the expertise of workers at the tourism resorts, the hospitals and the clinics. To shed more light on that, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Yahya Abdulqader, our tourism expert. Dr. Yahya, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, how are you?
How are you? Dr. Yahya, indeed, the tourism is a key pillar of the country's economy. How do you view the measures taken to revive the business of this industry during the repercussions and the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, actually, the Ministry of Tourism taken to the World Health Organization and IATA criteria for handling inbound travel to Egypt. And that's why, we were considered a safe destination for travel.
Yes.
Second, the hospitality workers in the Red Sea region resorts, Luxor, Aswan, and cruises, they have been vaccinated twice. And this is the second step. Third, the facilities has been for hotels and restaurants and bazaars and anything to do with travel has been sanitized thoroughly. And finally, the Ministry of Tourism, they conducted a promotional aggressive campaign valued at $90 million. That's why, the strategy is paying off. And we have visitors currently from around 50 countries.
Yes. Sir, actually the resumption of the Russian flights to the Red Sea resort is a great boost to the tourism. Do you believe that this will move and will encourage the other countries to left Egypt from the red lists?
Yes, definitely, yes. We expect by the 27th of August, shortly, we'll be receiving 15 flights per week to Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh. And really, this is encouraging other, regenerating markets like Spain.
Yeah.
So currently, we are receiving chartered flights from Spain to Luxor and Aswan. Kazakhstan is sending tours to Marsa Matruh.
Yeah.
And last week, we've been receiving cruise ships from Saudi that's carrying 3,000 passengers from Jeddah to Qatar and Port Ghalib and Marsa.
Yes, after the opening of Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada museums, Tourism and Antiquities Minister announced that Egypt will be launching direct flights from Sharm el-Sheikh to Luxor and from Hurghada to Aswan to enable tourists to enjoy the cultural tourism. How do you view this move, Dr. Yahya?
Well, beach goers and summer vacationers, after they enjoy, the resort and their vacation, they allow these groups to fly from Sharm el-Sheikh to Hurghada to Luxor and Aswan to check about, Valley of the Kings, Karnak Temple. And some of them will fly to Cairo to check the Cairo Museum and then the Al-Fustat Museum for Civilization, the Cairo Acropolis and the pyramids as well.
Yes. Sir, what measures actually, in your perspective, should the ministry take to promote the cultural tourism to the market seeking the beach tourism?
Well, as we have seen, Alamein and North Coast is creating a tremendous demand internationally throughout the summer vacation. We have top of the echelon hotels and resorts that has been overbooked. And then again, the administrative capital as well.
Yeah.
It's developing as a financial and business hub for the region, and it will be hosting meetings, conventions, incentive travel and exhibitions, and travel groups as well.
Yes. Dr. Abdulqader, would you highlight the efforts of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities to diversify the country's tourist destinations?
Well, they have been working to, upgrade, the current facility we have, creating, for example, we have now a new airport in Bernice, which is the most remote part in Egypt, that will make travel accessible from the GCC countries in a short time. And then we have new hotels opened this season at the three destinations on the North Coast. Some of them have been opening in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada as well.
Yes.
So the minister is working hard to create more attractions and double demand.
Yes. Sir, do you believe that the Grand Egyptian Museum would change the tourism map of Cairo?
Well, definitely, yes. Like the gym, just like last week, has witnessed the setting up of the some sort of kiosks, like our grandfather, and it has been kept, like in the museum. And this archaic relic, like dates back to 45 centuries ago. So this is just creating, like world media attraction and creating awareness as well. So everybody in the world is waiting for the time when this gem, like will be opening its gates to the public.
Yes. Sir, the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization hosted the final draw of the 2021 World Men's Handball Championship. How do you view holding sports events in the country's archaeological sites? And do you think that holding cultural events in these sites would promote our destinations?
Well, like the State Museum is like the greatest attraction recently, like like last week in Egypt. And Dr. Ahmed, like the chairman, he is creating a great agenda for it, events and training and like attraction. That's why many visitors, we have like about 7,000 visitors per day go to the State Museum. And one thing too, next November will be launching the Ramesses exhibition for the Egyptian treasures in Houston, Texas. And this is going to be kept there for 6 months. So this is some of the root work, like over the State Museum and Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities.
Sir, also many cultural activities and events are taking place in many archaeological and historical sites, like the event in the Citadel now, and indeed musical events. How do you see the importance of that, and how that is reflected on the world of tourism, and how that would be able to attract more tourists for this different cultural events?
Well, this is very essential, like because visitors like on go to vacation, they like to enjoy the attractions of the city, the music, the food, the fashion, shopping, like everything. That's why currently we're having an art exhibit in the North Coast. 40 countries are represented. For like 3 weeks, we'll be having the musical festival at the Salah ad-Din Citadel, and this is very, like well booked up as well.
Yes.
And then we have at the AUC campus, like in Tahrir Square, we have an event, a musical fair for the gender, for 3 consecutive nights. And we have theaters, we have, like musical groups. So, like this is really has been a very good year for Egyptian culture, art, music, and travel as well.
Yes. Back, Dr. Yahya, to the Grand Egyptian Museum. Indeed, it's a very important event, which maybe the whole world would be waiting for. So how do you see our preparation ahead of the grand opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum, and how we should be marketing for that major event, which is indeed a breakthrough in the world of culture and antiquities?
Well, I'm sure that Dr. Anani, like is having, like a professional team and an international brigade, like to develop a calendar. Because, for example, it is going to be opening within 6 months. So this calendar has been like to be customized. That will promote like events like until we get to the countdown when the museum will be opening, like its gates, like to the public. And it's going to be kings, like presidents, queens, and celebrities coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
So this is like an event like once in a lifetime.
Indeed. From your point of view and from your insight as a tourism expert, to what extent the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum would be a breakthrough, a major event, and to what extent the museum, which is hosting one of the most important or the most important artifacts in the whole history, would be important to the tourism industry as a whole and the antiquities industry?
Well, actually, like worldwide since 1922, we know it is the, like rare and scarce collection of King Tut, like 50,000 artifacts that has been uniquely, like found in one chamber. So this is going to be on display under one roof in one room. And then we have the archaic, like some sort of King Cheops, like the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza. This is going to be on display as well for the first time intact and in a perfect way, apart from it being like dug out, like next to the Great Pyramid.
Yes.
And then we have lots of antiquities as well. We have the statue of the great Ramesses II, like that was placed somewhere in Ramesses Square. So we have very rare and like a blend of all the Greco-Roman, like Egyptian, Pharaonic, and prehistoric. That's going to be on display to the whole world.
Indeed. Sir, reopening several museums emphasized the unprecedented support the state is giving to the tourism and antiquity sector. How do you see this?
Well, really, this is, like smart and encouraging, initiative from the government because, like we have about 27 governors in Egypt, and we have a very rich and, blessed, like history and antiquities all over Egypt, like in Sinai, in Shamsia, Upper Egypt, Alexandria. Wherever we dig in Egypt, we don't have relics and antiquities. That's why it's more time to preserve it and display to the whole world. And remember that the whole world is helping us as well, like the UNESCO, European Union, USAID. We are supporting, like, for example, the reservation and conservation of downtown Cairo in Cairo. The State Museum is like supported by the UNESCO as well.
Yeah.
So the whole world is supporting Egypt because it's the Cairo civilization and keeping its antiquity intact is good for us and for the whole world.
Indeed. How do you see the importance here of opening new markets here for the tourism in Egypt and how that could be done from your point of view as an expert, Dr. Abdulqader?
Well, one thing, like we have lots, like on our plate, like to offer to the whole world. But one thing we need to upgrade, like quality of services, like to make everything perfect, like timing, services, the pricing, upgrade, like the skills of the staff working in hospitality, training them abroad, like, and we need from time to time to hire, like some sort of experts as well. Remember, Egypt, like, has been like a melting pot, like with the professionals in the whole world, like materials building the museum, like others building bridges. So we need to bring international staff to make sure and present to the world that the quality they expect and anticipate.
Yes.
And as well, we have ecotourism, we have medical tourism, we have educational tourism.
Yeah.
We have the Holy Family, where the Holy Family spent 4 years in Egypt. So we have lots to offer, and inshallah, this year and next year is going to be a good year.
Yes. Dr. Yahya, also, as we are finishing the summer season, we have to shed light about New El Alamein city and the new destinations which were inaugurated, and maybe for the first time ever we have seen influx of tourists, Arab tourists and different nationalities coming to the north coast and to New El Alamein city. How do you see that, and how do you see the future of that destination for the tourism and the tourist influx?
Well, the strategy of the government and President Al-Sisi initially planned Al Alamein to be a year-round resort, not only for 4 months during the summer season. That's what we're witnessing. We have universities, we have colleges, we have a whole life, and then we are not depending only on travelers like coming by road or by train or by air, because we are opening a new line now with the Mediterranean countries like Napoli and Genoa and Greece and Cyprus. So I was listening to the businessman from Emirates, and he's saying that the yacht business is like 5% of the whole world, like revenues, and that's why Al Alamein is being currently developed as a hub for yachts, like from Monaco, from like Marseille, from Riviera, to come to Egypt and enjoy this warm winter where the whole world is nearly freezing.
Yes. As we should be preparing, sir, for the winter season, as a tourist expert, how do we expect the coming season to witness more tourists to come, as we have increasing the precautionary measures. We are doing all the needed measures in order to protect the tourists and the staff here in the hotels and everywhere from the COVID-19. So how do you expect the coming season to be, the winter season, Dr. Abdulqader?
Well, some of the hotels, like were fully booked during the summer season, apart from the precautions, and we have seen, like weddings, event, conferences, and incentive travel. All of, like has been fully booked, and everybody is taking care of the precautionary steps, and the criteria to go with the World Health Organization and the IATA observations. That's why we are considered a safe haven for travelers. That's why we receive visitors from 50 countries, like a week, coming by cruises, like on the sea, Mediterranean, and by air and by road. So really, inshallah, like as of September, October until the Christmas, we'll be having a very solid season, and we'll see the figures are, like growing and doubling every other day.
Indeed. Back to the attraction of tourists to Cairo. Also, we have now the Museum of Civilization. We are expecting indeed the Grand Egyptian Museum to be inaugurated, and we have seen massive renovation and work in downtown Cairo. Now it's kind of an open museum, and in Tahrir Museum as well. So how do you see that, and to what extent that would be an attraction for tourists to come to Cairo and visit our sites here?
Well, this is a great initiative, like by the government.
Indeed.
Because for some time, like downtown Cairo, that was being developed at the Renaissance time, with the, like the hefty budget, like that Khedive Ismail and his successors were allocating, and it has really been lifted, like the real estate downtown Cairo.
Yes.
But thank God, like the government is very keen. I've been there 2 days ago at Tal Ashab Square, and I saw 4 or 5, like icon buildings have been renovated, and everybody is pleased, like, and seeing this development that is going to generate more business. And, like visitors who have been to Egypt in the 80s and 90s, they like to come to the shop and cafe and, like, and bookshops, visit their friends, like, and enjoy the, like the happy days of all kinds.
Indeed. Dr. Yahya Abdulqader, our tourism expert, always a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you very much. And our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of this edition of Cairo Local Time. Till tomorrow is another great